Okay, I got our secondary. It doesn't matter whether you're 660 or 700 here. This is a method with using the tool we sell. Take it off. Trust me, I don't like selling an $88 tool to change a $30 spring. There's a lot of YouTube videos and other stuff of how you can do it with a stock steel wheel or make your own tool or whatever. Trust me, I got no issue with anybody not buying this tool to do this with. It's just here if you need it. Okay. Now there's multiple tools on our site, different brands, but the one in the Rhino section is the one you're pretty much going to have to use for the Rhino. Okay, and this is, I'm also going to use a redneck method. So get it hand tight, and then you're not going down much. I mean, you're just taking the pressure off this nut. Most of you won't agree with this. It's the way I do it. I take a screwdriver on that edge of that nut, hit my thumb, and knock it loose. And then I turn it with my finger. Got it off. Simply. Now this is going to take a little while. Alright, nut's about off. So anyway, we took our tool off. I actually don't have the gold spring I'm going to put on here. We shipped them all out. So at this point, if all you were going to do is change the spring, you take one off, one back on, reverse process, and I'm going to go clean this, show you how to clean it also, and then I'll show you how to put it back on. Alright, this is the part about disassembly I wanted to show you. If you got your spring off and it's been a while and nasty as this one is, I mean, if you're going to go that trouble, you might as well take this thing apart. So what you do is you take this spring cup and pry it up. There our spring cup comes. We're going to clean that. This looks like this could use some attention. That's some pretty nasty grease in there. Alright, so you got to take these little pins out. Okay, basically you just pull them out. Now some people refer to this as a helix on a Rhino. There's really no such thing as a helix. You want to know what a helix is? That's a helix. That goes on a Razor XP 900. Anyway, I guess it acts kind of as the helix. Pull them out one by one. I wish I had a better pair of needle nose. Alright, once you get all 4 of them out, you can take it apart. Now I'm going to go clean it and we'll come back and put a little grease on it and go. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to grease this thing up, back up a little bit. And I'm simply going to take a little grease, put inside. There's an O-ring in the bottom of this, or a gasket seal, whatever you want to call it. Try not to get any grease on your belt surface. We're going to go back and clean that up, but you don't need to get no more on there than you have to. Alright. Then we're simply going to, I wouldn't recommend putting in grease on this, only in here, because if you put it on here, the wiper's going to wipe it down to the bottom and then it's going to shoot out. So put your grease in only inside here, just a little light film of it. All in there real good, coat it good, don't overdo it. Alright, and then we're going to slide this back down. Now once you slide that back down, what you're going to do is I'm going to put just a tad of grease in that hole, or probably just put it on the end of the pin just as well. Slide your pin back in, each pin back in the hole. Probably works as good as anything right there. It's just a mess, to be honest with you. I don't like doing maintenance on them, but when they need it, they need it. Alright, then take a little grease, and in each one of the little tracks, and like I was talking about, some people call them helixes, put some in each track. If you don't maintain this thing, and what happens is it'll bind up from dirt, it'll bind up and it don't want to spread apart. And the primary clutch is trying to pull the belt down in it, and it can't, and it just pulls it, stretches it, and builds up heat from the stretching, and then it'll break your belt. So there are several reasons for belt breakage in a Rhino, and this just happens to be one of them. Alright, like I said, putting all this grease is kind of a mess. Alright, then we're going to take our spring cup and put it back down. And I'm going to check for any excess grease in there, and I'm going to get it out. The last thing you want to happen is this thing slinging any leftover grease out onto a belt. Okay? And then I'm going to wipe it down up on top to get any of that excess grease off as well that's on this side of the seal. So as it moves back and forth with spring action like so. Alright, before we go put our spring back on, what we want to do is clean this inside real good with that carb cleaner. I would suggest a clean rag when you do this. So I'm putting my carb cleaner on here really good, and I'm going to go inside. Now some people rough them up, but I'm telling you, it doesn't take long with a belt. Whatever you do to it, I don't care if you machine the finish on it, that belt would rub it back smooth. And if you put a machine finish on it, I've seen some people, most likely it's going to eat up a belt. So anyway, so now our inside of our secondary is grease free. We're ready for a spring. Alright, we are out of gold springs today. We got some coming in, so I might have to take this one back apart for this customer Tuesday. So anyway, we set our spring in, put our washer on. And then we tighten it back down. Okay, as you get tight, you may find that you got to bump the spring cup over to get it centered. It's raining and we're inside this metal building, so I'll speak loud. Alright. Then you take that nut and get it started with your fingers. Now I'm telling you, this is my way. You better do it the way the service manual says. Don't, you know, and torque it like they say. I'm just showing you what I do. Alright, we got it back down finger tight. I'm doing reverse what I did earlier. That's good and tight. And then simply take the pressure off of it. Take the nut off. Alright, that off, that off. got, for this one actually same spring, but we got a clean secondary and your new spring on.